What's up, gardeners? Welcome back to Hardy Gardening. Today we're just going to give you a quick guide on what to do once your pepper seedlings have popped up, how to take care of them, and when you want to up pot them to a bigger pot size. As you can see here, we got some small seedlings that have just mostly popped up, so we've taken the humidity dome off. There's still a few that haven't popped up, so you can see I have little plastic covers on the ones that haven't come up yet. You don't have to have those. You can use like a piece of cling wrap or saran wrap, whatever you call it, plastic wrap, or a piece of plastic Ziploc bag just to cover it, keep the moisture on that specific cell until they pop up. So once the seedlings are at a larger stage, they have about 3 to 4 true leaves. So the first 2 leaves that pop out on a pepper are not actually leaves or on any plant really. They're called cotyledons. Once they have the next set of leaves are true leaves. Once they have 2 or 3 sets of those is when I like to pot mine up. Once they're about 2 to 3 inches tall, or they have about 2 to 3 sets of true leaves. So I know this video is a little bit different than the previous one. The reason being I injured my back, so my wife is going to show you how we pot them up. She's going to be doing it, but I'm just going to do a voiceover because she was a little shy to talk on YouTube. So here you can see her filling the pots. They're 4-inch pots or 3.5-inch pots, somewhere around there. Just fill them up with some good quality potting mix, potting soil, and you want to just leave a dent in the middle. She's kind of compacting it down just a little bit, you don't want it too hard in there, but you don't want air gaps. So she's gonna push it down a little bit, make a dent in the middle, set it off to the side. Once she has them all done, we're gonna show you the next step. Okay, so here's the next step. You just want to get your seedlings into the new pots of soil. So what she's doing here is pinching the bottom of the seed cell. So that's going to loosen up the soil in the bottom of there, so that it's easier to pull out. So then you kind of just want to like grip it lightly underneath the leaves. Be careful not to pinch the main stem. You don't want to damage it when they're this fragile, so you kind of want to just hook your fingers underneath the leaves and pull it up as you kind of pinch the bottom and loosen it off. And you can just kind of hold it by the plant and carry it over to its new home. Just be a little bit gentle with it. They're pretty tough plants, so they'll be alright. Don't worry about it too much. If you're noticing that the soil, when you're trying to get the seedling out, if it's like crumbling and it's just seems like it's really hard to get out of there, your soil might be too dry. It's easier to do when the soil in the seed cell is damp. That's a mistake I made the very first time I ever started seeds. Was I thought it would be easier when it's dry, so I let it dry out before taking out the seedlings, and it was a disaster. All the plants survived, so it wasn't a total disaster. Everything survived, but we had a heck of a time getting the plants out of there. But now that we know when the soil's damp, it's way easier. It kind of comes out all in one piece. Then you can just plop it into its new container, just like that. So another very valuable, important tip that I can share with you is When you're working with seedlings and seed starting, it's always best to water them from the bottom. So even before they're at this stage, the stage they were at the beginning of the video, when they're just got the first cotyledons coming up and they're in the seed tray, we're not watering from the top. So we're lifting up that tray, we're putting in about a ½ inch of water, so a ½ inch to an inch of water in the bottom. Let it sit for about 5 minutes or so. Once you see the top of the soil is wet, you want to take any excess water that's still in the tray and go ahead and just dump that out. You can dump it into a different plant you got going, or if you don't have anything else going, dump it into a house plant or just dump it down the drain. You just don't want your pepper seedlings, they don't like to be sitting in water in the bottom there. If they stay too wet, you're just inviting problems for yourself. You're inviting mold and fungus. You can get fungus gnats, you can get all sorts of things you just don't want in your house. So yeah, just go ahead and water from the bottom. Even afterwards, after these are all potted up here, what she's gonna do is water them from the bottom. The soil's already pre-moistened, but it's not totally damp yet. So she's gonna put some water in the bottom and let it sit until the top of the soil is damp, and then she's gonna dump out the excess water. It's really easy, guys. Alright guys, so there she is. She's all done. So there was 10 pepper plants there. She's got them all potted up and they're into their new homes for now. Where the growth will really excel once it's in this potting soil. So the seed starting mix didn't really have much in it. So potting soil has a little more nutrients, so they'll really start to grow now. So what she's doing now is I also had her plant some celery seed for me because I am unable to move from my bed. I'm pretty much bedridden at the moment. I'm editing this video laying down in bed about 4 or 5 feet away from my computer. It's probably the most difficult edit I've ever done. But I want to keep getting videos out to you guys and keep showing the progress. So if anybody out there is following along and you find this helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps out the channel, and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to keep getting out the videos as much as I possibly can. It's a bit of a challenge, but I'm still getting one out for this week. So yeah, so she's going to put these celery seeds on the top of the soil here and give them a spray, and that little circular thing has its own little humidity cover, so it doesn't need to be with the rest there. It can be out on its own under a light. So celery seeds are really tiny. So I'm gonna be over sowing them, so that just means putting way more in than I need. So she's just gonna sprinkle pretty much this whole packet right onto the top of that soil there. Um, and she's just gonna push it down with her finger. It doesn't really need to be buried deep because the seed is so tiny. Usually the smaller seed, the less it needs to be buried, generally anyways. So she's just gonna push it down into the top of the soil a bit, and then she's gonna give it a spray with a spray bottle, put the humidity dome on, and set it under one of our grow lights. And that's really all there is to it, to planting celery. Once it's time to put it out in the garden, we're gonna be separating it from this little pot. So into individual plants and kind of spreading them around the garden to hopefully get some good celery this year. I've never actually grown celery before from seeds, so we're gonna see how this is going this year. Got a few experiments that I've never done this year, and celery's one of them. So here I am in the bed. What I'm doing is cutting out all the seedlings that I just want one per pot. You don't want to plant multiple, or you don't want to have multiple growing up in competition with each other, because what's going to end up happening is they're just going to both struggle. So um, my wife doesn't like doing this because she thinks we're killing the plants, which technically you are. If you don't want to kill the plants, you can pull them out and pot them on their own, but I got way too many peppers going on this year, so I'm not going to do that. So she brought it up here for me to cut and just choose the healthiest looking seedling and go from there. So that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe the video. It really helps out the channel. And if you got any questions or concerns or any tips for me, please leave it down in the comments. I'll be glad to get back to you right away. Thanks for watching. Catch the next video, guys. Thanks.